Hello, people. It's fucking freezing outside today, so I'm not going out to the garage to make this video like I normally do. Finished a book in a sunburned country. Not sunburnt, sunburned. I just needed a break from the seriousness of Gibbon and most of the other books that I read. This guy Bill Bryson, he kind of writes. There's several authors around right now that use this kind of style. He writes in a humorous manner, and there was actually a couple of times in the book where I laughed out loud. It wasn't a bad book. It was 331 pages, and it took me 2 full days, and I don't know, I finished it about 10 a.m. this morning. Today's Sunday, so I had the weekend to read this thing. It's all about going to Australia and just driving around and going to different places. And I learned a little bit about Australia. A lot of the thing, I'm not totally ignorant about Australia, so a lot of the things in this book I knew about. I don't think he really went to that place where they have these prehistoric trees. He talks about going to a place with prehistoric trees, but I didn't recognize the name of that park, so I think there may actually have been another one that was discovered since he wrote this book. He travels around, he goes back to England, he comes back with a buddy, he travels around, and then, I don't know, the last 30 pages are all about the Olympics that they had in Australia, which I'm not crazy about the Olympics, but I remember watching it. I remember the crazy lawnmower scene in the beginning of it, and he talks about that. I only have a couple of notes in here. Yeah, I picked this up because I read this author before. He wrote a book called A Walk in the Woods, which is about walking on the Appalachian Trail. And I've been on the Appalachian Trail, and it's very nice. I wish, I'm probably too old to do it now, but I wish I would have, at some point in my life, walked the whole thing like they attempted to do in his book. I don't remember a whole hell of a lot about that book, but I remember there was a fat guy with him that was trying to quit smoking. And I thought, fuck, I should do that. I'm not fat, but I do smoke. My second little note on this page says, always check the print size before buying books. Sucks getting old. It's very small print. I was able to read it. Yeah, it's just not what I'm used to. Humor, I mean, even Gibbon will throw in little snatches of humor here and there, but this is not what I normally read. Although I don't consider this fiction. Fiction, very, very rarely will I read fiction. I've actually got one up there that I'm not going to start on it next, but I am going to start on that. This author, he laments the fact that Aborigines are the invisible people. That's what he calls them. And then he spends all of 10 pages out of the 331 on the Aborigines. He does get back to them a little bit at the end, so maybe 15 pages about the Aborigines. He talks quite a bit. He jumps around in history, and he talks quite a bit about some of the early explorers on the continent of Australia. And, they're trying to walk across the thing, and, even though it's a desert and there's no water, it reminds me of Arctic explorations. Just as dangerous. You're not going to freeze to death, but it's the same thing. Towards the end of the book, he talks about there was a time in Australia where they'd just go and kidnap children from Aborigines. And I don't know, it's like indigenous people all over the world get treated the same way. The Indians did that with Inuit. They would just go and snatch kids and try to educate them in the white man's way. And I don't know. The fucking stupid thing. You know, out of all the stupid things we do, it's probably minor. But it's a very stupid thing, very sad, tragic thing. At the very end, he mentions the Batavia. And it's a book that I read about this Dutch boat. The Dutch, they had their, they actually had a city that they called Batavia. Batavia, I think, is an area around the Rhine Delta. But the Dutch, where Jakarta is now, used to be called Batavia. They had plantations there, and blah, blah, blah. And they were trying to sail to this place. And they bumped into Australia and sank a ship on one of the reefs. And it was like fucking Lord of the Flies. The people separated into two different groups, and they started killing each other, and it was insane. The Batavia. It's an insane little episode in human history. Thanks for watching.